Well, hello everyone. I am Matt Williamson. How's everyone doing? Happy Valentine's Day to all. And I want to talk a bunch of numbers, a bunch of stats. We're going to dig back into the stats here for Steelers pass defense. So you guys might not realize this, but their completion percentage allowed was sixth best in the NFL. Not a lot of passes completed. I mean, Porter had something to do with that, obviously. Pass rush helped, of course. Minka is a very good coverage player, but you don't think of the back seven of their defense as being great in terms of completion percentage allowed, but it was quite good. Some TJ Watt stuff. He led the league in sacks. You guys know that. But he also led the league in quarterback hits with 36. He's the only player in NFL history to lead the league in sacks 3 different seasons, which is pretty crazy at his age. He's also only one of 2 players, along with his brother JJ, to have 19 or more sacks and 18 or more pass defense in a single season, which is pretty bonkers. Watt was responsible for 40% of the Steelers' sacks. 14 different Steelers defenders registered a sack during the 2023 regular season. Pittsburgh's opponents had an average time to throw of 2.53 seconds. Only 6 defenses faced a quicker time to throw. So the pass rush is quite good. I mean, offenses schemed to get the ball out quick, yet the completion percentage was also low, as we mentioned. As a whole, the defense generated 2.8 sacks per game. Only 6 defenses were better. The Steelers were plus 11 in sack differential as a team in terms of sacks allowed versus sacks created. Pittsburgh's defense ranked 6th in pressure rate since week 9. So the second half of the season, their pressure rate was 6th best in the league. The Steelers knocked down the opposing passer on just over 10% of their dropbacks, the 8th highest percentage in the league. The defense finished with the 13th most quarterback hits, led by Watt, of course. Watt had those 36, but Highsmith was second at 18, which is a pretty highly respectable number as well. Marcus Golden had 10, which is quite good for as little as he played. Larry Ogunjobi and Keanu Benton each had 8 quarterback hits, but Golden's 10 stands out for a short stint in there. I mean, he's a backup. He's a rotational player, so that to me was something that really stood out. Folks, BetOnline is your number one source for all odds, stats, trends, and lines, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of player performance props, dozens of odds, props, and info on hundreds of sports, events, politics, and entertainment. You can access the world's best wagering information anytime from desktop or your mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. We talked about quarterback hits. We talked about sacks. But how about tackles for loss? They were 12th highest amongst any defense. They ended up with 83 tackles for loss. Watt led the team. I mean, that's kind of a theme here. He had 19, which is a huge number. But Landon Roberts had 10. Alex Highsmith had 8, also pretty good. And Golden again. Cam Hayward and Marcus Golden each had 6 tackles for losses. This might surprise you, and you probably heard this at the Super Bowl. Kansas City led the league with passes batted down, but the Steelers were second. The Steelers had 15 batted passes this year. Only Kansas City was more. Pittsburgh's defense played man coverage on 31% of passing plays. Only 6 defenses played man at a higher rate. They also had a deep middle of the field defender for 63% of the pass plays, the 4th highest percentage in the league. So you're getting a lot of man. 31% doesn't seem like a lot, but it is for today's NFL. And you're getting a lot of single high safety or 3 deep shell. You're not getting middle of the field open with 2 high safeties very often. And a lot of that's because Minka is so good at it, but KZ did a lot of it. And I think that's just their desired way to play, is with a single high free safety. Mentioned Porter a little bit before. He averaged just under a yard, 0.9 yards per coverage snap this season as the nearest defender. That was the 4th lowest of any cornerback with at least 250 coverage snaps. It's pretty darn impressive. I'm not talking about rookies. I'm talking about any corner. He was responsible for 75 yards in penalties against him, though, most on the team. So you talk about penalized Steelers. Porter was counted for 75 yards in penalties. That's the most. That's a big number. Watt and Pickens were at 50 yards of penalties. The Steelers' defense committed 9 defensive holding penalties. League average is 5.6. So that's one spot you're getting them, and Porter's definitely a culprit for that as well, is defensive holding calls. Again, they had 9 defensive holding calls. League average was 5.6. The Steelers allowed the 3rd most yards per reception to receivers aligned out wide. They're also pretty bad against the slot, to be honest with you. So that's not great. Pittsburgh surrendered just 9 rushing touchdowns. Only 2 defenses allowed fewer. The Steelers allowed 2.63 yards after first contact, which is 6th best in the league. Good tacklers. The Steelers finished the 2023 season 5th in red zone defense. Pittsburgh's defense was 21st in 3rd down defense and 6th best in 4th down conversion rate allowed. That 3rd down defense has to get better. 21st isn't going to cut it. Last thing I got for you. Pittsburgh's defense was on the field for 1,195 snaps this season, including the playoff games. 27 different defenders played 111 snaps or more. 23 players played 203 snaps or more. Patrick Peterson led the way, playing 1,162 snaps. No one else on the team played 974. So Peterson didn't only lead the team in snaps, but it was like 200 more than anybody else on the defense. Not the guy you want that to be with, to be honest with you. You'd love if that was Porter and Minka next year, not Peterson, who I'm not even sure if he'll be around. But keep that in mind when you talk about, well, let's just cut Peterson and save that $6 million or whatever. He did a lot of stuff for you and was out there a lot, although it was far from spectacular. I kind of mixed feelings about him. Talked about that yesterday, though. Thanks, everyone. This was fun. I will talk to you tomorrow.